Hey everybody, welcome back to MidNightChats1. I'm Avi. Today is my first interview video, so let me know how you guys think. This guy's name is Cercis. I've known him for years. Just wanted to do a little interview with him, see how it goes, see some of the topics that I thought I could ask him questions about and see how it goes. So yeah, just let us know what you think, and yeah, this is Cercis's interview. Peace. Everybody, welcome back to Midnight Chats. I'm Abby, and today I'm talking to Cercis. If you know who he is, and you don't know who he is, you're about to find out. So, hello Cercis, how's it going?
Hey, bro. How are you?
Oh, not too bad, not too bad. I thought I had all these questions to set up to ask about you. If you don't want to answer any of the questions, just say pass or something like that. Some of them, it just depends on you of how much detail you want to go into and explain. If something triggers, we can just skip the question.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool. So the first one is I always like to know what people's name means. What does cis mean?
Cis means, I don't know. I don't really have an explanation for my name. I guess it's just the name that my obviously my mum gave me. So I don't think there's actually any. Oh well, there is a story behind it. Obviously,
Yeah.
the Cis is actually short for Sese, and he's actually my great grandfather. So on my father's side, you know, he was the one that originally started the whole family on my dad's side. So like I was named after him. So like yeah, I think there's some sort of Portuguese roots to the name, because there's actually the English version of my name is Cercis, which is like Cercis, which is like that's actually my name there. And yeah, so it was actually my great grandfather's name, and it's a Portuguese origin. But yeah, I'd really like to know more about that side of my family, because that's all I know. So I'm pretty sure there's some interesting history there. So as far as my name goes, yeah, well, I guess it's a Portuguese origin. But yeah, so I guess I've got some Portuguese in me.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, Portuguese, that's a bit different there. Don't really, well, I don't actually kind of met anybody Portuguese before. For you?
Yeah, well, me neither. Yeah.
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't really know anything about that country or anything about it. All I know is that that's where my name comes from or originates from. So, yeah. So maybe I have to check.
I am pretty much the same there too. Yeah, I know that place exists, but yeah, I don't actually know anybody else from there.
So it makes it even that much more interesting for me. So maybe I have to check, maybe have a look at my family tree. So maybe related to some famous person or something. I don't know.
Yeah, who's a famous Portuguese person, man? I don't think I've ever actually heard of it.
I don't know. Like, what isn't I mean, obviously, it'll probably be a soccer player. Like, I think isn't Ronaldo? Isn't that Portugal? I'm not too sure. Yeah, like I said,
right,
like
the soccer country.
well, I mean, I know Brazilians speak Portuguese, because they were, I think they were colonized by the Portuguese. So there you go. So yeah, but yeah, it's interesting. I might have to have a look and track it down, because I'm also the other family name, other families that I'm related to are the Pereiras and the Perez, with those names, and those are also like names from that part of the world also. So yeah, definitely.
I remember the Perez's. I remember meeting a few of the other your cousins.
Yeah.
With their last name, and I remember one of them had it on their arm over there.
Yeah. So so it's interesting family history. So, but yeah, like I really haven't really delved into it. But that's also the same with my Chinese side. I don't have no idea about that side. That's my mum's side. So yeah, it looks like I've got a lot of things to research and look into
Go
when
through
you know
the
what I mean.
family ancestry.com and just start
Yeah,
going by which country he started from the top.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, bit of a fruit salad.
Yeah. No, no. Well, my next question is like when I was 10 years old in New Zealand, uh, it was pretty hard still, and this is what, like 20 years ago now. And
Hmm.
like, I remember cruising through Mangere and what life was like. So,
Like a
like,
young hooligan.
yeah, like a hooligan, but like what streets were like, what,
Hmm.
what kind of freedom we had back then.
Yeah.
Like, as a 10-year-old back when I was a kid, compared to what life was like when you were a 10-year-old kid.
Oh,
So,
like well, I mean, you were because I mean, you're a bit different. You were, I suppose, you're closer to my generation because
yeah,
I don't think you were like. I think obviously things like video games were around when were very popular when you were young, and they were
yeah,
like popular when I was young too. So, but like they were just starting to come in back in my day. Like, but with you, yeah, I think you were lucky because you didn't get you weren't stuck in the house. You know what I mean?
yeah,
You were out the house, and I was the same as well. I was in that generation of kids that we didn't stay in the house and play video games. Well, obviously, because the video game system back then wasn't like it wasn't all that. It wasn't, you know what I mean. So we
yeah,
had to like make our own fun. And so like with me, especially 10 years old, 10 years old. Yeah, I remember exactly what I was doing at 10 years old. I was always out. I was always with my mates. I had a mate of
yeah,
my next door neighbor. Like me and him were best mates. Like I mean, I first met him when I was about. I think I would have been about 6. He
yeah,
was about maybe 7, and we moved into that house, and I sort of grew up with that guy, and I still know him to this day. We went to high school together, and but I remember when we were 10 years old,
yeah,
we would literally we used to live by the creek because I used
yep,
to live in the Hutt Valley back in the day in a place called Nainai, and there is this creek they used to run through like the back streets, and that's where we used to always go and just hang out, and we used to always just like have adventures and shit like that, and would go. We would leave the like if it was on the weekend, we'd be out of the house at about 9, and we wouldn't be back home until about something like 10 or 11 o'clock at night because it was that our generation could do that. You know what I mean? Like especially
yeah,
with like our parents, like they just knew that we were going to be we were going to be fine. Just just left us to our own devices pretty much, and we weren't really wrapped in cotton wool back in those days. So yeah, we had some really yeah. As a kid
yeah,
back in those days, you just had a lot of you were
yeah,
always outside the house, bro. It was
yeah,
like if you weren't outside and you're stuck inside, that was like no good. Yeah,
yeah,
you don't want to you don't want to be that kid, eh? So yeah, I remember being as a kid, I was just out and about, eh?
yeah,
But which is funny when you now see kids these days, they're all just stuck to their TVs and their video games and their phones now. So there's so many more things to distract kids now. So, I mean, I was just saying that the other day to you, but your kid, like, I was watching her with your phone, and I was like, man, she just knows her shit. It's just like, she's just flicking through that phone, like, it's like, that she's been using it for all her life. And
yeah,
like, so like, it's going to be interesting, like, with your kids, like, how they're going to be. Like, I mean, I mean, obviously, if they're active and they get out of the house, that's awesome because you do that, you take them out. But like, um, yeah, it's just I don't know if it's healthy for kids just to be stuck at home, eh? You know what I mean? And
yeah,
it's just like you learn so much when you're at that young age, eh? Because like at 10 years old, man, I was basically out and about on the street, bro, just like having fun and doing whatever I want. I mean, obviously, I was well behaved because you know that if you misbehaved or did something wrong,
yeah,
or if the cops were involved, you got to get a hiding when you get home, and then obviously I was going to get a hiding from my mum, and at that time, even my brother was a disciplinarian for me. So like I used to get, I used to get like a couple of good whacks here and there if I misbehaved. So it's just a different time, I think.
yeah,
So 10 years old, yeah,
yeah.
man, I was at the house, bro. I was at the
Yeah.
house. Yeah,
But
I was.
when I was 10, man, I feel like I was a cunning kid already by the age of 10. Like, because when
Yeah,
I had turned 10, I had just come to New Zealand.
yeah,
And my mom, like, I had come on a student visa,
Mm,
so I couldn't go to school, and my mom would go out to work and go see her friends, and I had to stay home. But I don't know why, but they used to have the TV in their room, and they used to lock their room, so I
mm-hmm.
couldn't watch TV, so I had to stay at home, but go
Yeah.
play outside.
Uh-huh.
And I had to figure out a way to, before my mom left, to go
Yeah.
into her room and leave the window a little open, so and she wouldn't notice.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And then when she goes, I have to jump onto the top of our garage and then go to her room and then reopen the window and hop into her room.
Man, the things you used to do as a kid, eh?
Yeah,
Like, 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 like,
just to watch
like
TV,
even
man.
things like even things like we weren't allowed to turn the TV on, so you couldn't have the TV on at all because you knew that your mum would come home and the first thing she does is she goes and touches the back of the TV to see if it's
Yeah.
warm, and if it's warm, then she knows that you've been watching TV, and then yeah, come, yeah, get the belt, get the hose.
Well, I found a way around my mom's idea of taking the TV away from me. So what she used to do, because remember we used to have the aerial, like those bunny ears that you had to have your TV in, or you
Yeah,
won't get any
yeah,
channel.
yeah, the antenna.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
my mom used to think that if she took the antenna away, that's it.
it
I
wouldn't
can't
work.
watch anything. So what I used to do was I used to put my toe on
In the
top of where
TV
the
stuff.
area where you plugged it in,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I'd use my body as a conductor, and then
Oh
I'd
wow,
start to.
you were like that's some MacGyver shit.
Yeah, man. And I figured it out that my body sent out an electricity that
Yeah,
putting my toe onto that bit where you plugged it in.
yeah, 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 yeah.
And if my toe was touching it, I could be a conductor.
Your mum was wondering. That's probably why your mum was wondering why your hair was all sticking up like that when she came home and saw you. Eh? You giving yourself electric shocks.
But I'm thinking of that shit, man. I don't know what made me think like put my toe on it and see if I could get a signal through. I think I
Yeah,
remember sitting there. I was in Mangere East on Grey Ave, and they
yeah,
had taken the aerial away, and I was
yeah,
trying to figure out how to watch TV, and I was like, because like remember once they took the antenna away, you just
yeah,
got like a blurry screen.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
I was sitting there going, wow, what do I do? And then I
yeah,
started putting my fingernail in there to
yeah,
see if I could like do
yeah,
something. And I put
yeah,
my fingernail on it, and a little bit of the sound started coming out. I was like, ooh, let me see
yeah,
what
yeah,
else. So and then I started touching like fingernail, and I was touching the wall, and I could see that it was starting to get signal. And then I figured out if I got my toenail and touched it, and then turn around, because remember they were box TVs.
How
They
long
had
was
to
your
kind of
toenail?
like,
It must have been a long toenail.
yeah. That's why I have my feet on the back of the TV, have my
Yeah,
knees and stuff on the side, and then I'll wrap around to the front of the TV so I
that's
can
called
watch.
that's called jam TV.
Man, I'm basically just spooning my TV.
Yeah,
And that's how I watched it, and like it worked.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like that's how I watched Dragon Ball Z. I used to watch Happy Days like that.
Oh,
What do you call
happy
it? The
days. Oh
Fawns.
my god.
Was it the Fawns? Yeah, it was the Fawns.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, of course, of course. He was the cool. Everyone wanted to be the Fonz when Happy Days was like on was on TV. He was like the cool guy, and everyone wanted to be
Yeah.
him. Yeah.
Like, but yeah, that's how I figured out that like that's the dumb stuff I did at 10. And I think I had a crew called the Gutter Crew, where it's
Yeah.
the same thing. Like when I was just out of the house, and uh I used to
Robbing
have the
people.
mates. They used to put their things in the back of your tire on the bicycle, and it make that noise.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I forgot what those were called. I always wanted that for my bike. Eh? I
Yeah,
always wanted that for my bike. Oh, it's like when I was a kid. Eh? Here's a funny story. I was on trainer wheels when I was like a real big kid. Because I didn't
yeah,
know how to ride a bike, bro. I didn't
yeah,
know how to ride a bike for ages, bro. Remember, I think I told you the story. Like, I thought it was some sort of magic that you had to balance on that bike. And so,
yeah.
like, it took me ages, because remember, I had just come from the islands. So, like, we never had bikes in the islands. But when I saw the kids in New Zealand have bikes, I was like, oh, one day I have a bike. Eh? And when I finally got a bike, I realized, oh shit, I can't ride a bike. And so like, it took me ages to fucking get used to riding a bike. Eh? I remember I remember the first time I actually rode a bike. It was my neighbor Aaron,
Yeah.
because he taught me how to ride the bike, and it was like, so we tried so many times, and he said, don't stop moving your feet, because every time I moved to pedal the thing, so I
Yeah.
couldn't work it out, that because every time I pedaled the bike, the bike wouldn't move. It was like I would be pedaling, but the bike would just like tip, and I would just fall over. So like I didn't have the idea of momentum and whatever you call inertia, or whatever. When the bike's moving, I had no idea what that was. You know, as like an 8-year-old, so like I had no freaking idea. I was like, how does this work? But when I figured it out, oh, honestly, bro, I was like the king of the world. Oh, bro, I was like,
The
sheesh.
man.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, bro. But
Conquered the world,
I
eh?
was on. Honestly, it was quite embarrassing. I rode to school on my bike with
Yeah.
trainer wheels, bro, and it was like.
Oh God.
But because I was such a big kid, it was like, oh well, no one's gonna say anything.
No, no, don't worry. Okay, my next question is: everybody has a life quote that they live by, or has
Mm.
something that's like is a quote that they live by. If you don't have one, that's all good. But like my life quote now is my word is gold.
Oh yeah.
So whatever I say,
Is it
it should be.
gold?
Huh?
Is it? Is it though? Is it gold? Are you sure?
Well, it
It
may
could
be
be like a
silver
little
right
bit
now.
painted, and it could be a little bit dirty.
No, it's about silver now.
Might have
It's gonna be
a
gold
few
soon.
smudges on the. Might have a few smudges on. No, that's a good quote. Yeah,
Yeah,
no. So you try to you're a man of integrity
yeah. Because I think that's one of
and
the things
honor.
like where a lot of people have forgotten now. Like like if you said something like "I'm gonna be there tomorrow, bro," like
Yeah.
like tomorrow comes, people don't come over, and they'll be like, "You said something." Like it's just how
Mm.
people live. Like if I say I'm gonna give you a hand, bro, like tomorrow, I'll be there
Mm.
tomorrow. Like no matter what's happening, unless I'm dying or somebody
Yeah,
died, then I'll be
yeah,
like I
yeah,
can't make it. But I'll be there. But it's not just because I woke up tomorrow morning and I don't feel like it now. Because
yeah.
yesterday I was feeling like it and today I don't. Like
Mm.
just I
Yeah.
said it, I'm gonna do it, and that's why I live my life now. So yeah, do you have a life quote?
Um. Man, to be honest, there's some great quotes. So many great quotes that you
Yeah,
could live your life by. I can just think of just a handful off the top of my head at the moment. I mean, that I suppose I try to like subscribe and live accordingly to
yeah.
it. You know, like just simple things. You know, just like I suppose. What's one? Uh, it's not the size of the house, but how happy the home is. I think that's
Oh.
I think that's a pretty good quote to live by. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
put in
That's a really
perspective what
nice one.
yeah, put in perspective what really counts and what really matters in this life. You know what I
Can you
mean?
say
Like, I
that
mean, don't
again?
get me
Can you say that again?
don't it's not the size of your house, it's how happy the home is. So like, you know, I mean, hey, don't get me wrong, go get the big house and get the, chase your dreams and, be a success, and that's all good. But, at the end of the day, put everything in perspective. The most important thing is, obviously your
Who's in your
family.
house with you, eh?
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean,
Yeah.
you can have every single toy in the world, but if you don't have anyone to share it with, then what's the fucking point? Unless, of course, you're fucking all you're into is fucking showing that shit off, and just it's about ego. But I mean, that's cool too. But I mean, it's like I said, it's like you know, nothing's more important, I suppose, than the people in your life. If you're lucky enough to have, people in your life, there's because I say that, but there's people out there that don't really have anyone. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think that
But
I meet some souls. They're the kindest souls that I've ever met, and I wonder how are they so alone.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
I always wonder if they've been burned and hurt so much that they're so closed off to the
Mm,
rest of the
mm.
world. Because there's some lovely people that I know, but they're so alone.
Oh yeah, yeah. Listen, I think honestly, at the end of the day, if you really think about it, we're all alone. If you really think about it, like we're really all in our own heads. If you really think about it, right? Like we're
Yeah.
you're with yourself most of the time, and I'm with myself most of the time. So,
Mm,
like, I mean, the idea of I think being alone is something that people find very, very hard to deal with. You know what I
mm,
mean? Like I've noticed that. I mean, obviously, we're humans and we're social creatures, so we don't like to be alone. I mean, I suppose we were not meant to be alone, but I
yeah.
feel like if you can be alone and be comfortable alone, I feel like I don't know. I think there's something to that, but I'm not saying go out there and be alone. But I'm just saying it is an aspect of life that yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, it's just like we're just thinking about it. Like so many people like can't stand being by themselves. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
you sort of see it all the time. You see people like I think a perfect example would be like people that have I wouldn't say a terrible situation, a toxic relationship or something like that. It's like if they go for a breakup, they can't be by themselves for very long. And a lot of the times they end up jumping into another bad relationship
Mm,
because they just don't want to be alone. They'd rather be in drama, right, than be
yeah.
alone.
Yeah.
Um, I know I sort of went on, started going on a deep end there, but like I
No,
just
no,
thought
no,
that
that's
was just
fine,
quite,
my bro.
quite interesting when you brought that up, and
Yeah.
yeah, no, but what were we talking about?
Yeah. What do
The
you got?
loneliness?
Life quote, life quote.
Oh, you were talking about something about loneliness or something like that. What
Oh,
were we talking
some of
about?
the nicest, kindest people I've met are all alone.
Oh, I
And
see what you're doing. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, okay,
but
yeah, yeah,
next, my next question is, I've got to keep this rolling.
yeah, yeah.
What's a job that like? What was your most interesting job that you've done in your life?
Most interesting job.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it couldn't even
I
be for a
once,
short amount of time, but
I
just
once. Let me think. I've done a number of jobs, but interesting job. Interesting. I did work for a company once, and this was, oh, mate, this is when I don't. Well, are you familiar with the year 2000
yeah,
and and 2000, the year 2000 rollover? Did you ever hear about that? They reckon that when everything in 1999 was about to switch over to 2000 because the computing systems were done in certain a number of digits. They
yeah, the
said that once it,
Y2K stuff.
yeah, the Y2K stuff. So once they thought that all the computers switched over to the new year, things were going to get all messed up because the computers didn't know how to. Something to do with like the dates and the BIOS clock and something on computers. So I used to do tests on computers.
Yeah.
Like I used to work for this company, and we used to go around and they used to send us to like just businesses and that, and we would test people's computers, and we would test them with the software that they we developed, and this software would tell you whether your computer would fail or not. And I thought it was an interesting job at the time because when it all came out to the year 2000, nothing really happened. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So like we were doing all these tests and making quite a bit of money. I think we were making like $150 a test to like just a computer. So like we were doing all that,
Wow.
but because the Y2K thing was so big and everyone was in a state of panic and most people had no bloody idea what it was. They just thought, oh, I better get my computers tested because I don't want my computer to crash if it rolls over to the year 2000. So they just did it anyway out of precaution. But when it all sort of turned around to 2000, the year 2000, nothing really happened. So it
Mm.
was not really like, it was just interesting because it's like we'd done all of that, but it almost felt like, oh shit, did we just rip people off? But not, so that was one of the most interesting jobs I did.
I'll tell you something just a little bit funny about the
Oh, no,
Y2K
and I've got this
situation.
other job, and I've got this other job that I've got. Oh, well, you got your turn, and I'll tell you this other interesting job
Yeah,
that I had.
it's not a big thing. It's just uh, I came to New Zealand on December 24th, 1999,
Hmm.
the day before Christmas. And that was 1999, just before. And I remember leaving Fiji, and my
Hmm.
friends, my next door neighbor's friend, his name was Sunny.
Yeah.
And he was like, imagine going in the plane and the computer fails and you're going to crash and die in the ocean. And all the way through my trip from Fiji to New Zealand, I
Yeah.
remember just sitting there going, please don't fail. We've got 5 more days. We've got 5 more days. Yeah, that was it. And luckily, nothing happened. But
Yeah,
oh,
so you were you're pretty
yeah, because I thought
you're
Y2K was gonna
petrified.
happen too. Like I was in Fiji and it was a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
Oh,
you
so
think that
yeah.
was terrifying, think about the Fijians that were hanging off that tire of that plane you were on.
Oh yeah. Now tell me
You
about
hear
the
about
other
that?
job you.
No, do you've heard about that, eh? You heard
No,
about
I
those
haven't.
dudes? That has happened a few times. I think it's happened in Fiji. I think it's actually happened in Samoa as well, where they've thought they could hitchhike a ride on a plane and jump on the tires. And but the thing is, freeze your nuts off up there. It's too cold. You know,
Yeah.
you won't make it. Like yes. But anyway.
Yeah.
But there was another job I had that was quite interesting. I was a bouncer, and the crazy thing about me bouncing was you because you obviously heard the story. I was only like 16, 17 at the time, but because I was a big boy, and
Yeah.
people had no idea. So like one of the most interesting jobs I had was because these guys at the bar knew that I was so young. They and at the place I was working at was strip club.
Yeah.
So basically, I got to whenever they had private functions, they actually just put me as the security guy right next to the strippers while they were doing their thing. But I think they were just trying to do it just to get a kick out of my reaction as a snotty nosed kid, like
Yeah.
half naked women. You know
Oh
what I mean?
yeah.
So that was probably the most interesting eye-opening job I ever had, just because I was so young and I was just so absolutely naive and
Yeah.
innocent, and just it was a totally new world for me. So like yeah, so but that was an interesting job, and
Now, what about what was like like from a kid to even now, what was like one kind of field or job that you wanted to do that like one day you're going to do or like you thought you would be doing that now?
it's funny. I've done a few though. Actually, I mean, obviously, I did a bit of how would you web design and graphic design.
Do you have like a
So,
dream job?
dream job.
Yeah.
Oh, my dream job. Oh, yeah, I don't know. I don't think I ever had a real dream job, eh? Because I think when I was a kid, dream jobs were just like things that were just, and you were never going to be an astronaut, bro. Come on,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? That was my dream job, but it was like yeah, but like yeah, no, I never really had a dream job. I suppose no, I can't. Um, I suppose something to do with design, and I did, in fact, you know, was lucky enough to do a bit of design, and with computers and with graphics and web design. So there was, because I mean, I was creative as a kid, so I guess I was leaning towards doing something creative, something like whether with my hands or with my art, and obviously the art came in handy when I started doing stuff with Photoshop and graphic design and that when I was doing things like logos and designing things like that. And it was pretty cool for me because I was all self-taught, so like I learned all of that on the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, YouTube University is where I pretty much learned how to use Photoshop, like
And
back
YouTube is
back
so
in the day.
interesting like that, eh? Like the amount of things you can learn through YouTube now. It's like you
Oh
don't
yeah,
even.
bro. If like I was telling you the other day, like I really wasn't like I grew up in a car family, right? You got influenced by a certain individual in my
Yeah,
family when it
yeah,
comes to hot rods. I loved hot rods, but I never really got into it as passionately as you did. So
yeah,
you basically got the passion for cars that I suppose Joe wanted me to have, but you
yeah.
got it instead. So like, but with YouTube and stuff like that, I've started to learn more about cars, and over the years, I have a greater appreciation for vehicles, which is ironic because I grew up in a house where there's literally hot rods getting built in my fucking garage. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But I was not interested in it at that age. I mean, I was only a little pipsqueak. But like as I've gotten older, it's funny how the internet or YouTube has sort of like opened my eyes in regards to cars and how to fix them and that. Because whenever I have a problem with my car, right? Because
Yeah.
I've been ripped off so many times by mechanics, so I don't trust these I don't trust them. So what I do
Yeah.
is I'll make sure I'll check the YouTube and see. And I've found most of my problems on YouTube and ended up fixing it myself. So like, man, it's such a handy tool, eh? And yeah, I mean, shit, man, I just
You wouldn't
you
believe the
it has
amount of.
so much wealth of knowledge on there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You wouldn't believe at times, like I used to think back to it, go, I used to have a problem with my cars, and I'd be like, man, if he was still alive, man, I could have just called me like, hey, what's my problem? Just let me
Yeah.
know.
Well, see, that's
Man,
that's one thing I really sort of miss about not having Joe around, is because I never got that opportunity to build a
yeah,
car with him. I
yeah,
mean, now right now, I'm thinking about, man. I'm actually getting interested in doing a project car, and it's like, man, this is all stuff that me and my brother would be doing right now anyway. But I was like, it's funny how I've finally got getting into something, but it's like, I know I haven't missed the bus because I can definitely get the information, and I've got, you obviously got you and your boys and that, but like, it's just so yeah, it's kind of sad that I got to miss out on sort of working on cars with my bro. So but yeah, like I said, it's
well,
you know,
even to
give-
this day, one of the things he told me about my car, and I honestly I didn't understand it till I got older, and this was a bit of my personal story, and it was like how much he loved his Holden,
yeah.
and it was like the amount of torque and the amount of labor and hard work he put into that car, and you see how it shined, like all the attention to detail it did. And I used to tell him I love that car, like I love, and he's like,
Did
you'll
you
never
ever see
love.
that photo? Did you ever see that photo of me doing the two thumbs up in front of the Holden
No,
when I was
I
a little
never
kid?
saw that
Yeah,
picture.
we were talking earlier on about when we were 10 years old.
Yeah,
I was literally 10 years old when I took that photo. The car had just been like painted yellow, that
yeah.
color, and it was like, yeah, I remember that day because I mean, I don't think I've seen him any happier when I
Man,
saw him.
if you ever actually find some pictures at home of it, you should send it to me. So, like, if we ever
Oh
post a
yeah, yeah.
video of this,
I
up,
think
like on YouTube, I would love
yeah.
to just show what that car looked
Mm.
like. Cause my God, it was an amazing looking car.
I've actually got some of his old T-shirt designs. He designed some hot rod T-shirts, and
Really?
I've actually got his folder of all his artwork. And this is from like the '80s, because I
Yeah,
remember him designing them in my room, because I had a graphics design room when I was a little kid,
yeah.
and he used to use that to do his design, because he used to do T-shirt designs back in the '80s, and like yeah, and I've got some of his hot rod T-shirt design. Yeah, some of them are pretty wicked. They're real
Yeah, that'd
bogan
be cool to
style,
see,
like
man.
'80s, like fluorescent colors. And I think he's
Yeah.
got a picture of like ladies with half
We
naked
won't let
ladies.
that we won't let that detail come too much on this
Oh
video.
yeah, yeah.
So
It's got pictures of unicorns and
yeah, Bobby.
little hot rod gremlins and
No worries. This next one is an optional question. If you don't want to answer it, it's fine. This question for everybody that I'm going to ask, and is, uh, what do you think about God?
Hmm.
If you want to say
Well,
past, that's fine because it's some people don't want to
well,
get
there's
into it, and
definitely
it's completely optional.
no. I mean, I believe there is a higher power, 100%. Like it's just honestly, I don't really subscribe to all of this being random.
Yeah,
There's a unique just design to all of this, and like this shit doesn't just fucking happen like that. It's like there's something else at work here, and I think our brains are just not designed to understand what it is. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like how
I
we sort
agree.
of
Yeah,
how we don't we really understand certain things, like how when they talk about certain dimensions, like third, fourth, fifth, and then they go up to fucking however many dimensions there are, and as the higher the levels, the more the more we will never understand it. Just our brains won't understand it, and I think
mm,
that's the same thing with God. I think we you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
there's something there, but it's just I can't explain it. You know what I mean? And I don't necessarily subscribe to certain, um, I suppose, literature that has been passed on, because the thing is, we're humans, and we can all like we can all change things, and you know what I mean, and start influencing certain things. And I think that yeah, I just think that there's just more to it than just what we're told from a book, and you know what I mean, and many books. So like, um, yeah, so I definitely think there's a higher power. Um, Yeah, I
Thank you
definitely.
very
I
much for that.
mean,
Yeah, thank you for being honest. Like, that's like you have the right for everything of your belief. Is everybody does
well,
like
put it this way. We it's all it's faith based, right? Because no
yeah
one knows, because every bit of information is given to us or fed to us, and then you know what I mean. It's
yeah.
like I, yeah, and plus this, yeah. I just think there's just there's definitely something bigger out there, and I just think we just don't have the capacity to really fully understand what it is and how it all works. But it works, and here we are, and this is, we're living whatever this is, and yeah. So
Nah, no worries. Nah, thank you for that one. Well, what's the next one? Oh, the next one. What's the best conspiracy you have heard?
the best conspiracy I've ever heard is that all birds are not real. They are all surveillance technology that put here by the powers that be to eavesdrop and spy on every one of us and keep
Wow,
us. Yeah. No.
that's a full on conspiracy
so,
there.
so people, birds
Yeah,
are not real. Okay,
yeah,
they're not real. They're not real. They're
yeah.
not real. There you
Wow, wow.
go.
That's the best conspiracy I've heard of it. Yeah. Oh, no, that's a good one.
What about you, sir? What's your favorite conspiracy?
Uh, my
There's so many. There's so many. There's so many.
the best conspiracy I have heard is that the moon is actually a spaceship,
Yeah.
and that's why all the craters on the moon only go to a certain depth because it hits like a protective layer where the ship is. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
why if you look at all the impacts on the moon, all of them, the deepest one,
Mm.
all of them are all the same size, and it's
So
because
is that like a Death Star?
yeah, basically
So
that's
you
where they reckon the theory.
who's inside? Is it the Nazis?
Well, that's where they reckon that like that's the conspiracy that I heard was that they reckon Earth is like a prison, and they just the wardens watching to make sure we can't leave
Ah,
the
so like
galaxy.
that makes sense. Eh?
Yeah,
That
it,
could
it
be.
makes it. It was just one of the
What
best
about
ones
the
I think.
what about the conspiracy that perhaps the moon
Yeah.
actually a reflection of our Earth?
Yeah. I've actually heard
Mm.
that one before too. That-
And maybe if you look deeper into those moonshots, you probably see that there's actually extra land on Earth. Where's that extra land at, people?
that- that-
I wonder where it is.
yeah.
Somewhere cold, I think.
No worries. Okay, this is the seventh question in that list. Um, a dream place to go, and if you had to retire anywhere, where would it be?
Anywhere,
Yeah, so
retire.
dream place to go first. Where would be your dream place to go? Just visit, like you just want to go and just see.
Hmm. You know what? I'm a bit weird in that, like, a lot of people want to go to tropical places and they want to go to places like you know, like no, like a tropical island or something like that, like paradise on earth, and that's great, and that would be fantastic. But I actually am a big fan of places like Alaska, places like Mongolia. Like I don't know. There's something about those places. I don't know whether it's just the nomadic lifestyle that those people live and the simplicity of it all, but there's something about that type of lifestyle, like living on like your own piece of land somewhere in the wilderness. Just like
Yeah,
some like there's something in that that I really like that just like really something I would really, if I had the opportunity, I would go do.
yeah,
Like like Mongolia is just like, oh, I don't know. Maybe it's also because of its rich history, and it's just the whole area is just so vast. The steppe. It's
yeah.
just like it's just like overwhelming, I think is the word, eh? And it's just like there's just something to that. And I don't know. I mean, we were talking about loneliness before and just like solitude, and it's just I don't know. I've always, as I've gotten older, just my dream is just to be out in the wilderness there somewhere. You know what I mean? Having like a bit of land somewhere and just living off the land. I don't know. There's just something about that lifestyle that's really attractive to me. And
And
yeah,
that's where
so
you
I'd
want to
probably
live
say,
too.
huh?
Is that where somewhere you'd want to live too, like retire?
I would definitely live somewhere like Mongolia or Alaska.
Yeah,
Definitely, yeah, because I just I don't know. I mean, it's weird because it'd probably kill you living in places like that. But like, I guess maybe that's something that adds to the I don't know the adventure of the sense of adventure of being out there. You know what I mean? That you could die at any moment, but which is fucking weird. No one wants to live like that, but I mean, still, there's something to that. I don't know. I can just appreciate people who live like that. You know, just it's just that's all they're focused on is just getting through that day. You
yeah,
know what I mean? Not like here and fucking walk around in fucking pajamas in supermarkets. Fucking, you know what I mean? We've got everything at our convenience. It's just just it's just a different lifestyle, eh? You know, maybe because I've lived that lifestyle of being in cities all my life. You know,
yeah,
you sort of start to wonder what it's like on the other side, whether it's like, is the grass greener over there? And
yeah,
it seemed like they just live a real peaceful life. You know what I mean? I
yeah.
think someone's phone is dying. Is that my phone? I better plug it up before it dies.
Yeah. I think it might be
Okay.
your phone.
But where do you want to go? What's
Well,
your dream?
okay, so my dream place to go, okay, this is from, you know who Max or Maximus is, eh?
Is he a Roman dude?
No, you remember Trina's dad?
Who?
Trina's
Oh,
dad?
Max.
Yeah,
Max.
Max or Maximus?
Yeah.
Oh, Maximilian, eh?
Yeah.
Maximilian.
Oh, yeah. Maximilian. What about it?
Yeah, and like honestly, he was like a granddad to me. I remember going down to Wellington and seeing him, and he used to talk to me quite a lot. Like I was just like a brown boy to him, and he's the. I remember going in his little hatch car, and we're
Hey,
going down to Wellington Town Centre.
don't forget his kids are half brown too. It's not like he hasn't seen brown people, and he's had a couple of Samoans in his house too.
But he was so white, like
Oh, I see what you're doing. Did you
yeah,
ever see this? Did you ever see the family photos
yeah.
from
Was that
Austria?
where, like,
And
I
they all
remember
had that. They all had the moustache like the old Adolf moustache, and everyone's giving each other side eyes, like, oh, who's that? Oh,
he
that's my
told me.
grandpa
Yeah,
Adolf.
he told me the funniest thing, and I always remembered because of him. And he had told me, "Do you know the two famous people from Austria?" And I was like, "No, who?" And he's like,
Arnold.
"Arnold Schwarzenegger and Adolf Hitler." And I was like,
Yeah,
"What?" And he's like, "Yeah." I was like, "I thought
yeah.
he's from Germany." He's like, "Yes, but he was born in Austria." So I was like, "Oh," but he showed me like his family home
Yeah.
in Austria, and he had like what 18 sisters.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and he was the only boy within 18 sisters. And like I remember talking to him on our drive, and he was like, "If you ever get old, you should go see Austria because Austria is nothing else like in the world." Like because he went all around the world, didn't he? Travel quite a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like,
Oh, mate, the buildings there would be the architecture there would be amazing,
yeah,
amazing. Like,
yeah.
yeah,
So he
I'll
was,
just go. I'll just go for the buildings, eh?
yeah,
I'll just go for the buildings. That's all I'll do is just look at those damn buildings. And honestly, I want to those cathedrals, eh? Like I said,
yeah,
those cathedrals. There's something about those cathedrals. Honestly, every time I see a cathedral, I am in awe. Like I just like, especially those ones in Europe, eh? When you see those things, you're just fucking blown away by how are you how you, man, I ain't even gonna start on that. How you wagon, horse, and cart people built something as advanced as that. So who knows what the history of those things really are? But like, they're just amazing to me, eh?
yeah.
And yeah, Austria, 100%, eh?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and for
they're
me, for a live, if I wherever I have to retire, I really do enjoy New Zealand. Like, there's a lot of shit
oh
that
yeah,
happens in New Zealand, but like, I would
one
love
hundred
to
percent.
retire in just a country house and maybe like out of Auckland with
Yeah,
just a decent amount of land.
yeah,
Uh, and honestly, that's like no matter how much crap we talk about it, it's a really
There's
nice place to live.
we got it lucky here in New Zealand. We are
Yeah,
so
and I
lucky.
do
I
agree that
think it's because we got it so good that we can bitch and whine. So you know what I mean. But yeah, you think about what we have is like I was just talking to the other person about like there's a lot of uproar and with the medical side of things in New Zealand. But man, when you really think about New Zealand's like health system is it's compared to what's out there in the world, bro. It's
yeah,
fucking brilliant, eh? Like, yeah, if you were in America, you're fucked, bro. You're
yeah.
fucked if
That's
you're
why
like,
I learned that, and like, yeah. So
yeah.
yeah, I
But
do
like,
believe that
no,
New
like
Zealand is
like
such
you
a
said, New
great
Zealand.
area.
New Zealand is a great place to bring up a family. You know what I mean,
Yeah,
like you've got a young family, and like I said, it's compared to other places. I mean, New Zealand is it's a pretty decent place. It's very safe, and you know what I mean. It's like, but it's like anywhere. You have problems if you go looking for problems.
yeah,
But and I suppose we do have a bit of a problem with the crime sort of creeping up and getting. But again, compared to other places, you compare New Zealand to South Africa or Brazil, and no offense to those countries, but you know, listen, you guys got some serious problems in your
yeah,
fucking countries. You know what I mean? Like our problems are small compared to to issues that are happening around the world. So, like, I mean, apart from the bullshit thing that we went through the last couple of years, it seems to be getting back to some sort of normality. Hopefully, there's not too many people who've been scarred from the last few years. That you know what I mean? Because I think there's a few people that, yeah, I think a lot of people woke up in the last few years or so about
yeah. I agree.
the
I think
powers
a
that
lot of
be,
people
and I
have
think
woken up in the past
yeah,
few
I
years
think
and
we've got
started
become
seeing.
wiser, and I think it's now become a little bit more difficult to bullshit us. So I think it's a good thing. It's a good and a bad thing. I don't want what happened to us was shit, but obviously we would learn from it. And I think a lot of people are a lot wiser. You know what I mean? A lot wiser now. They're not just like listen to the government and do what they tell you. It's like, well, hang on, what the fuck? You know what I mean? The people are now asking questions, which is what they should be fucking doing. But yeah, look, New Zealand. Listen, I love New Zealand. I
Yeah,
love New
I
Zealand.
do too. I think New Zealand is
It's
still a great place to live. I think
oh
after
mate,
all the politics that happens in here, it's still overall the politics doesn't affect our way of life
put it this
that
way, the
much.
people, I love the people of New Zealand. Like, I mean, there's bad apples everywhere, but generally we're a good bunch here. Here
Yeah.
in New Zealand, we're a good bunch, and yeah, hopefully, hopefully we don't go through any more bullshit. You know what I mean? Because like, yeah, we don't need that.
Nah,
But
well, no worries. Just starting to round it up with the last question because yeah,
all
we're
right,
trying to keep the videos underneath half an hour. I don't know if
sweet,
we're
sweet.
close to the time yet or not, or we gone way over. But the last thing that I wanted to finish up with everybody is just the funniest moment in your life. Like, because I personally actually know some of the funny things about you in your life.
I have some personal stuff that you know, but I probably should mention that because
Yeah. So, but what's the
people
funniest
don't need to
moment?
know that.
Yeah, what's
Huh?
the funniest moment you're okay with sharing? I should say then.
Mm. Funniest moment. I'm just trying to think. What is the funniest moment? Um, Gee, I'm just trying to think of one. Funniest moment. Funniest moment. Funniest moment. Let me think. Let me think. Uh, Well, I mean, there was that moment where I can't quite remember what I had done as a kid, but I had stuck some rocks in my nose for some reason, and I had to go
Yeah,
hospital to get them removed. Like, I
yeah,
think what I did was, as a kid, like you do things, just dumb things, random things, right? And I
yeah.
remember, I think it was some stones or some pebbles I was playing with, and I think I may have stuck them in my nose, and I think they got stuck there. And I think my bro had to take me to the hospital because yes, I remember because I said to him, I got these rocks in my nose and I can't breathe. I can't breathe. And he goes, breathe your fucking mouth, you idiot. And then I started breathing from my mouth, and obviously I could still breathe. But like I did remember, we did go to the hospital. Hey, I was about 7 or 8, so I was, I was just the dumb kid. But anyway, I do remember them like, I think they had tweezers or something. They were pulling the little rocks out of my nose.
Oh,
Just like, just you do those really stupid things as a kid, eh? But
yeah.
like, yeah, I think the funniest thing of that was when my brother basically like slapped me on the head and goes, "Breathe out your fucking mouth, you idiot!"
Oh, I can breathe through my mouth.
Oh shit! Oh, fucking mouth breather.
Oh my God, man, that's just one fuzzy moment. Nah, that just sounds like a funny moment in life, hey.
Yeah, well, just
Um,
dumb, young and dumb.
yeah, young and dumb.
What about yourself? You've done some dumb things. I'm sure. Well, I mean, I know you've done some new things, but what do you want to admit to doing that was funny or stupid?
uh, the dumbest thing I would actually ever think I've done is this is up in Christmas Road again,
Yeah.
and it's a bicycle incident.
Okay. Okay. Was I
So
there?
I was going down Christmas Road riding my bicycle, and there was these group of girls on the opposite side of the road walking.
Oh, you were trying to show. You were showing off, eh?
Now, well, I was looking at them, but I
Yeah.
didn't notice where my bicycle had started rolling off to. And you know how they have those concrete power lines that they have on the side of their curb always?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was riding my bike and I was staring at the gills and I didn't actually see the pole, and I just went bang and smashed right into it. It just
And
and I,
did you flip? Did you do a
no,
somersault?
I just went straight into it. Like I went crash right into it. Like my front wheel of my bike had
Yeah.
bent.
Yeah, I've done the same sort of thing. But I was trying to show off in front of these girls on my new 10 speed when I started riding bikes.
Yeah,
So when I became confident riding my bike, I was like Mr. Confident and Mr. 10 speed man.
yeah,
So I used to ride my bike, and I used to saw these girls once, and I did the old you sort of you step on the pedals. You know how you kind of standing on them, and you like standing over the bike. Body, but I made the big mistake of hitting the front brakes instead of the rear brakes, and
yeah,
that's because I was standing up and leaning forward. I literally did a somersault,
yeah.
hit my head on the ground. The bike flipped over as well at the same time and hit me on the top of the head. So you can think of the comedic, the visual of this, of someone showing off in front of girls,
Yeah.
braking, and then flipping, somersaulting, landing on his head on the concrete in front of those girls, and then the bike falling on top of you after that. That's literally what happened to me. And that was like, that was one of the most important, that was very similar to your situation. So another one of those red-faced moments for a young Cess when he was riding his bike.
Well, no, thank you very much, sis. This was like a good short little hour. It should be short. I don't know how long we've only been talking for, but if people enjoyed our conversation with me and you, and they want to see a part 2, hit us
They
up.
probably won't want to see a part 2, but yeah. Hi,
I'm sure
everyone,
there'll be
and
people that
peace,
want to see
peace.
a part
Yeah.
2.
All right.
We can elaborate more into the stories that we've had from the past, because one of the there's a few funny stories that you've told me that I feel like they're appropriate, but my God.
Yeah, no, let's keep it PG. Let's keep it. I've already
Yeah,
dropped a few
we'll keep it
F-bombs in this
PG.
episode, so my apologies to YouTube. Please don't demonetize my friend here.
Yeah.
All
So yeah, thank you very much for that.
right.
Like and subscribe, MidNightChats1. Thank you again for Sis for having a chat with me, and we'll see what the next video is like. Peace.